Hey everybody. It's Saturday morning, and I'm just going to do a real brief impromptu round the world update here. I got some stuff I got to do, some errands I got to run, and then this afternoon I want to try to get some stuff down here, and by down here I mean in the fish room. And I want to try to get some video shot this afternoon, etc. So we're just going to go around the room, have a little look at what I hope to get done today, maybe talk a little bit about the videos I've got on deck that I'd like to get shot. The pile just keeps getting deeper and deeper. As usual, my 29 miscellaneous here. Nothing really going on. Might do a little water change today. Don't know. Again, this tank just sits there ticking over like a clock. Never have to really worry about it other than some regular basic maintenance on the water changes from time to time. So we'll see if I do or not. Doesn't matter. Grammy Tank. Nothing really going on in here today. I don't plan on doing anything at all. I'm not getting in there doing anything with the plants or water change or wiping the glass down or anything, so that's kind of a big nothing. The Angelfish Tank, I have actually started to do a little bit of work in there. If you are very astute and you watch my videos, you will notice that the money wort I had growing up in the front, the two big leggy things that were right front and center, are no longer there. I have taken some sword cuttings from my 125, and I have put one right here with the runner heading this way down under the soil, or a substrate rather. So I'm hoping that I might actually get a couple more sprouts down here to the right side of that whitish rock, and then I put the other cluster in right there, so I may get another shoot or two coming up out of the substrate from there eventually. So I need to get in there, probably do a little bit of a water change, wipe the glass down inside and out. You can see it's got some drips and stuff running down from when I pulled the plants out. I never really did get around to wiping that back down. Still might get in there and do something with that branch. That branch actually has that Anubias, and that Java in the center is actually growing on that branch. So I could actually just pick that whole thing up and move it, and it would suddenly look like I had no plants in the middle of the tank. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm not real keen on it being in there. You don't really even notice the fact that there's woodwork in the tank anymore. So yeah, I don't know. Something might happen to this tank today. We'll see. T-bar tank. I have been treating for the cyanobacteria. Today is the day I take the air stone out and do a water change. I'll probably gently brush a few things down, wipe the glass down a little bit, nothing major. And this is my second treatment, so I really did just do a lot of work the other day, and I did a big water change on it, so that's why it looks all bright and clear like that. No tannin stains building up at all. So I'm probably going to wind up just taking the air stone out and doing about a 50% water change to get the medication out of the tank, and then I'll be done with this tank as well. My 20 long open top, nothing really going on in here today. Probably just do a filter change, maybe wipe the glass down a little bit. Now that I've done treating this for cyanobacteria, I don't see a whole lot of evidence of much of it coming back. One of the key things I've done was I reduced the bioload in this tank, and I also put a much higher quality lighting on it. So I think those two things together are going to prevent me from having a big outbreak of the cyanobacteria in the future. My brackish tank, nothing really going on in here. You can see I got some green growing on the glass again down there at the end. So I want to try to stay on top of that. I have likewise done a bunch of work to this tank with the cyanobacteria treatment. So I don't want to let that, get ahead of me again. I do have this new LED on here. I don't really have any experience with this brand, so I don't know how well it's going to work. From what I've read, it's sort of a middle of the road. It's decent. But it still may be producing some of the mid-range light spectrums that is very beneficial for the cyanobacteria and algae to grow. I've shot a video about that recently. I go into a lot more detail about that. I'll attach a card if you want to watch that video. Nothing really going on with the snail tank still, just kind of sitting there. I don't even think there's any snails living in it anymore. I honestly don't think there's anything living in it anymore, which was my goal. So once that's the case, and I'm sure everything in it's dead, I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce snails and get that tank started back up again. I just had some issues with planaria in there, and the planaria kept eating the eggs of the snails. So as hard as it is to believe, I was actually having trouble breeding snails. So I'm trying to get rid of all that, and I can actually see a planaria crawling across the back pane right now. You see that white line? That is a flatworm, and I can see it working its way right across there. So we still have planaria in this tank. I will get to working on that again, and we'll do something with that. There are medications and things I could put in there that would wipe it out, but that would be no fun. I like to experiment with stuff. I like to tinker around with things and find out how they work and what I can do, so on and so forth. So I'm not in any hurry. I don't have them in any of my other tanks. I'm not going to contaminate anything. So we're going to get back to trying to see what we can do here with some home remedies of getting rid of that planaria. Again, the planaria are a flatworm, and they are a predatory animal as opposed to the little white tube worms that are detritus worms that are pretty harmless in your tank. My 40 breeder is still cycling in. I haven't checked it in the last couple days, but I was already starting to develop some nitrates. My nitrates were through the roof, so I know I'm well underway as far as the cycle goes. I've been basically just using this tank as a repository for all my water sprite that I've been taking out of my 125 by the handful. I cannot pull that stuff out of there fast enough. So I feel bad about throwing it away, but I also am afraid it's contaminated with either algae or cyanobacteria, so I don't really know what to do with it. I usually just throw it away, but lately I've been saving it in case there's something I can do with it or give it to somebody or something. I don't know, but again, whoever gets it's going to probably get some unwanted microbial visitors in their tank. So we'll see what happens with that. And again, we're just letting the cycle finish on this tank, and then once the cycle's finished, we'll go ahead and figure out what we're going to do with the tank itself. My 125 just got some maintenance done the other day, so this doesn't need anything at all done, but we can certainly have a look at it. I always enjoy looking at this tank. It's really starting to grow in nicely. The patina, or what I think of as the patina, which is just the off-flux or the surface growth that develops on everything in there, is really starting to fill in nicely. It's doing better than I had hoped. I was afraid it was just going to grow in either really nasty green all of a sudden, or I was going to get way too much of the diatom algae, that brown algae you get. But I'm not. I am dealing with a little bit of the diatom algae that's very typical in a new tank. I've actually been talking to a friend of mine about that today. It got me doing some research, and now I'm actually really curious about silicates in your water, whether you have well water, city water, or different things in your tank that might add to silicate content in your water. So I've already got a total dissolved solid meter. I have now ordered a silicate test, and I'm waiting for that to show up. And once I get that, I will be able to actually start doing some experiments with silicates and see how easily they dissolve into water and what effect they have. And that sort of thing. I say this all the time, that if you're not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so, because you never know what you're going to get from me. I'm always doing something or tinkering with things. I'm just fascinated by everything, and one comment this morning led me down another rabbit hole of now I'm fascinated by silicates and the impact they have on your tank. So before I've even finished up with my other stuff, I'm already off down another avenue of exploration here. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff coming up. I will be shooting some more video about that. If nothing else, I just want to talk about why I'm fascinated by it, how it affects your tank that I know of so far, why the diatom algae needs the silicates, and so on and so forth. Pretty interesting stuff, and another reason why doing massive water changes may not be a good idea. You may be doing more in your tank than you realize by doing those massive water changes like I do. In fact, I'm going to be looking into my water much more closely, because I may not want to do those massive water changes the way I do anymore. But we'll have to see, and that's all going to depend on when I get that silicate test and when I actually start doing some testing to my water. So stay tuned for that. I've still got a few other videos that aren't terribly important that I want to shoot. I still want to talk about enrichment in your tank and for your fish, and I still want to talk some more about CO2 dissolving into your tank. I also want to shoot a follow-up to my video about bullies in the aquarium hobby, because that seemed to generate a lot of interest and was a rather popular video. So I do want to talk more about that. I think it's an important topic that we need to discuss more as a group and as a hobby, as a whole. So stay tuned for all that. That was my around the world update. No point in just finishing back by looking at the 29, because we're done. We're around the world now. And stay tuned for the next one. As I said, subscribe if you're not already. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you real soon on the next one.